Grab you a milkshake and a hamburger. We're talking Riverdale. This is a review for Riverdale. Chapter 34, Judgment Night. Holy Christ, that was one hell of an episode. Well, I think it's been my favorite this whole season. Probably one of my favorite episodes of Riverdale of all time. I don't even know where to begin. We got so much going on. Big reveals, handful of deaths, and just all-around craziness. So we'll just start out with Cheryl because her story is pretty simple. Cliffhanger in the last episode is the Black Hood shows up at her doorstep wielding an axe trying to chop her in two. But Cheryl runs through her house and then ends up getting her archery set where she takes a shot at the Black Hood, hitting him in the shoulder with an arrow. He runs off. She calls Betty, says, "Betty, the Black Hood's out and about. Better be careful." And then she proceeds to go try and track him down. So way to go, Cheryl. Like I said, she'll show up a little later in the episode, but basically she's spending the night running around like Red Robin Hood, of all things, trying to cut people down with arrows. I thought it was very amusing. Moving on, we'll just start things off with Fang Fogarty getting shot. And of course, this pisses off the South Side, so they start rioting, and this creates chaos all across Riverdale. And that's basically what the episode is about. It's just one giant night of rioting. And like I said, they had all sorts of crazy stuff. Like I said, we got Cheryl running around with arrows. Like I said, Fang's Fiery gets shot, so we'll go intertwine Veronica's story because she leaves Archie, goes downtown where people are rioting. She sees Mrs. Clump, puts two and two together because Miss Clump's got a gun, figures out Miss Clump is the one who shot Fangs, and basically killed him because we find that out later that Fangs dies. A pour a milkshake out for him, one of a few deaths we had in tonight's episode. So like I said, she figures that out. She meets up with her mother who's at the sheriff's station. And she finds out her mother's like running a bounty against the Black Hood. Veronica isn't too pleased with that. They go back to the Pembrokes, their little townhouse, hash it out, and Veronica gets pissed, runs into her father's office trying to get some money to do some damn thing. And then I think she was trying to take the money away from Hermione because Hermione put out $1 million bounty on the Black Hood, dead or alive. Veronica wanted to put a stop to this, so she wanted to get that money, so she starts looking for it. Finds out that her father has some plans for Fred Anderson, seeing how he's running for mayor, and it's photos of him banging his wife, who is also his opponent in the race. The file called October Surprise because, elections, people wait to the last minute to spring some surprise so they could change the votes. Anyway, like I said, Hiram's big plan is to expose, the affair that Fred had with Hermione. And, Veronica's like, but that will hurt you too. And like, no. Hermione's like, Hiram figures I get hurt a little bit, but Fred Andrews, he's the one on big family value, so it hurt him a lot. I'm thinking, what a shitty plan. Trying to expose the fact that this guy had an affair, but it's an affair with his wife, who is also running. And honestly, who'd give a shit? I'm sorry, but extramarital affairs, that's just doesn't cost people elections anymore. I mean, Bill Clinton, great example. President Trump, both of them, getting ass on the side while they're married to some woman. Neither one of them lost the presidency over it. Well, maybe one of them will. Knock on fucking wood, but I doubt it, people. Yeah, say what you want, that just doesn't ruin people, but I think it would ruin Hermione. I think people would think she's a slut. Double standard? Yes, that's my point. I think there would be a double standard. Hermione would lose, and that would happen in real life. If you had a female politician either running for an office or she currently had one, and people put out that she had an affair, I think that would cost her that office. Like I said, it's a double standard. When you get sleazeballs like fucking Bill Clinton and Donald Trump they stay in power. But maybe the Me Too movement's going to correct that shit. I don't know. Like I said, that's just a stupid plot point. And then, of course, this interruption, this fight they're having is interrupted by this big-ass motherfucker who just breaks down their door. Turns out it's Papa Pultein's son, Small Fries, out for revenge. And I thought it was very interesting how they set that up. So in the last episode, they just kind of briefly mentioned him. And we had seen what I thought was Papa Pultein's son talking to Veronica. She had this stupid storyline where she was talking to the 4 sons of the 5 families or some jazz like that. And there was one talking about canned meat. I thought that was Papa Pultein's son. And then later you had this other kid who was, mentioning to Archie, hey, Papa Pultein's son is out for revenge. And I thought it was that guy, but it turns out it's this big hulking motherfucker who were introduced halfway through the episode because he shows up at Pop's. And I'm thinking he's the Black Hood because that storyline was running with Betty. And, he's kind of like, hey, Pops, were you talking to Hiram Lodge? Where does he live? And I'm thinking, oh, this motherfucker's the Black Hood. But no, it's Small Fries, Papa Pultein's son. He shows up to Pembroke, kills Andre, who I predicted would die, like Fang's father did. I predicted the Black Hood would kill them both. That was not the case. But Andre died pretty much the way I thought he'd die. Someone shows up to kill the Lodges. He's on duty. He gets iced. And then, of course, that guy, like I said, Small Fries here, basically threatens, Hermione, so she ends up getting a gun and shooting that guy. And then Hiram, after he shows up after a night of just scamming and scheming people, more on that later, they're like, he sees Andre's dead. He's like, oh, shit. Runs upstairs and like, there's another body. You got to get rid of them. But Hiram, says, you know what? It's no big deal. I'll just call the sheriff, who's on the take, say to him, we got 2 bodies, we need to get rid of them. Of course, seeing how they've had all this rioting going on all night long, there'll just be 2 more casualties of that. Like I said, quite a lot of deaths on tonight's episode. So that's Veronica's story. That was pretty interesting. It seemed like more of the same old with Veronica bitching about her parents and, hey, you're monsters. Like, oh God, it's like, I thought she wanted to be a part of their life, and then when push comes to shove, when she realizes just how scandalous, how decrepit it is, she starts bitching, being high and mighty. It's like, shut the fuck up. This is the life you've chosen. Like I said, she wanted to be a part of the family business. The family business is fucking crime, syndicated crime. And a lot of shady shit, Veronica. Get over it. That's how you live this lavish lifestyle, which you fucking love, is because your parents are fucking crime masters. But like I said, with the Black Hood fake out, I thought it was pretty interesting. Yeah, just that fake out. I was like, they fooled me with that. I thought he was the Black Hood. No, he's Small Fries, Papa Pultein's son. And are we going to get any resolution on who killed Papa Pultein? Is it fucking Hiram or not? I'm just saying, I want to know who killed Papa Pultein. So that's Veronica. So Archie, he's just kind of bouncing around the town during the rioting, trying to protect Reggie. My man Reggie! He finally gets a story where everyone thinks he's a killer and they're out to get him. And he's not even half the fucking shit of that, He's hiding at Pop's of all places. But anyway, Archie has to find him. He figures the Serpent's out to get him. They hear that Serpents are down at Riverside High. They go down there. The Serpents are tearing the place up. They confront Sweet Pea, and Archie's like, hey, I just got a call from Veronica. Turns out it's Mrs. Clump who did the killing. Just as about they're ready to throw down, the principal breaks in with a few other guys, and the principal's got a baseball bat. It's like, what the hell are all you boys doing in my high school? Like I said, I love the craziness that was just exploding all over Riverdale. Here you got Mr. Weatherby, who's always just kind of been this milquetoast guy. And now he's showing up with a baseball bat. And apparently he scared everyone off because next thing you know, the serpents go to Mrs. Clump's house to tear that place apart. And Archie, goes to Pop's where Reggie was hiding out. And just when you think they're safe, you see these car lights coming up, revving engines. It's the Ghoulies. They're back in town. They want to tear up Pop's. But, Archie gets up on the top of the building at one point, starts throwing Molotov cocktails at him. They see a police cruiser come in. It's Sheriff Keller, or ex-Sheriff Keller. He just comes out of the car with a shotgun, scares the Ghoulies away, and he's got Fred and FP with him. They scare the Ghoulies off. And then, Archie and him go back to their house where, surprise, surprise, the door is opening. I wonder what's going to happen. Black Hood jumps out of nowhere, tries to, scare Archie. They get in a bit of a fight. Fred comes down, starts hitting the Black Hood with a baseball bat. Like, yeah, Fred! Of course, the Black Hood tries to finish his business because he just pops back up with a gun, shoots Fred again because Fred's got to save Archie. But this time he was smart, had a bulletproof vest on, so he survives. And then Archie, of course, chases after the Black Hood killer. I mean, the guy's got a gun. I don't even think he picked up the fucking baseball bat. But Archie's out to get the Black Hood. Or is he? Because, we have Betty's story where she thinks her dad is the Black Hood. She starts out, she's at town hall, writings exploding all over her. She gets the call from Cheryl after Cheryl, shot the Black Hood with the arrow, saying, hey, Black Hood's on the loose. He's probably coming to get you. She, tries to find her mother. They go to, the register where they find out about Hermione's bounty because, Hermione, she's run for mayor. She says, you know what? I'm going to put $1 million bounty on the Black Hood, dead or alive. And Betty's like, it's not even legal. No, it's not. There's no way in hell that is legal. The or dead part, like people, I don't know, they want to see justice for some family member. They put out, money. It says, hey, $1 million reward for the capture and conviction of an individual, but or dead part? No. This ain't the Wild West anymore. There's no way in hell that's still legal. That's a contract hit right there. So then again, Bush, when he wanted to kill Osama bin Laden, they said dead or alive. So you kind of wonder if someone else had found bin Laden, showed up with the head, would that person have been rewarded? Would President Bush have gotten in trouble for that? It's a mute issue because SEAL Team 6 took him out. And honestly, it was Osama bin Laden. So who gives a flying fuck? But still, I don't think that would be legal. Or dead part. Anyway, moving along, like I said, Betty, she starts trying to find Hal. She gets a call from FP saying he's hurt. He's at the hospital. She goes there, to his room where she finds Dr. Masters is dead. If you don't remember Dr. Masters, he's a tertiary character. He showed up a few times after Fred got shot. He was the doctor who took care of him. I think after Moose got shot, he was there. He was the local hospital doctor. And he's dead. Betty gets a call from the Black Hood saying, go back to your house, Betty. Your mother's here. If you don't show up, I'm going to slit her throat. Betty goes back. Hal's there. And he's like, hey, gang, let's watch a family movie. And this is where we get the big reveal where we see Hal as a young kid. His mother's talking to him, and she's saying, you know what you need to do, Hal? Because your father, he took care of them Conways. They were sinners. You know what you need to do. And, of course, it's revealed that the Conways, that family got killed by the Riverdale Ripper, knew that the Blossoms and the Coopers were the same family. And Hal reveals that it wasn't great-grandpa Blossom killing great-grandpa Cooper. It was the other way around. it was, his grandpa who killed Clifford Blossom's grandpa. And that might seem like a retcon, but in season 1, Hal puts out, well, their grandpa killed my grandpa. But Cheryl had talked about how her father, how his hair had turned white because he saw the ghost of his grandpa in his slit throat. So it turns out Cheryl's side of the story was correct, and that basically, the Coopers, for some reason or another, he killed off the Bloss. He killed off his brother, changed his name to Cooper, but this Conway family knew about it, and they were either blackmailing the Blossoms or the Coopers. I didn't really understand that part. So Grandpa Cooper, who would be Hal's father, went out and took care of the Conways. Except for little Joey Conway, who becomes Mr. Severson. And it was up to Hal to convince this young kid that someone had killed his parents. That was the preacher who ended up being killed by Grandpa Cooper, who of course was the actual killer, one of the Blossoms, and 2 other guys. They buried him alive. And Hal said, yeah, it was easy to control him. And I guess later he controlled Mr. Severson to pretend to be the Black Hood and got him killed, blah, 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 blah. We're probably going to find out more in the next episode. And then, he apparently wanted to kill Alice and Betty right then and there. But, Alice starts talking some shit to him. So he gets distracted enough so Betty could pick up a fire poker or some damn thing and whack him over the head with it. He gets arrested because he's the Black Hood. But who's the guy who attacked Archie? Hal even says at one point that the shooting at the debate, that wasn't him because we, of course, saw him save Betty. So was he working with someone else? I think so, because remember, they focus a lot on the Black Hood's eyes being green where Hal's are blue. So we still have the mystery of who's the green-eyed Black Hood. That's not over with. Is that person, was he working with Hal or did he have his own agenda? What's the idea with that? Next episode, I think they'll reveal and we'll see more of the plan, which I think will be interesting. Okay, last person, Jughead. Starts out, he's pissed that Fang got shot. Archie's calling him and says, hey, can you defuse this? Jughead tries to do that. Then he gets a call from Penelope Peabody, saying, hey, I got your girlfriend. He's like, you leave Betty alone. No, your serpent girlfriend, Tony. She's, Penelope's holding her hostage. Jughead shows up there alone, and of course the ghoulies come out of the shadows, and, it's like, oh, so the ghoulies are working with Penelope now. And, Penelope's like, you're fucked. But who comes out of the shadows but Cheryl with her Red Riding Hood and the arrow again, and, rescues Tony. But, Penelope, Penny, she's like, you know what? You tell the fucking serpents it's on. We're meeting at Pickens Park for a rumble tomorrow morning. And, Jughead takes us to the serpents. They're on for the rumble. Even though Jughead says, we're going to get the shit slaughtered out of us. Gets into an argument with FP about it. FP's like, oh, we got all sorts of people we could call in. FB takes off. Jughead starts looking at his, diagram of newspaper clippings and figures out that Hiram's behind this. He called in the ghoulies the same night that he set up, the Fangs Fogarty hit with Reggie. And he says, you know what, Hiram, I'll offer you something better. I'll offer myself up, which just seems really stupid. Like he was going to go there and let himself be sacrificed. And, it doesn't work because when he shows up, Penny's there. She's with the ghoulies. And they just beat the shit out of him. And Penny says, oh, you're going to be the hero? You know what? Didn't mean anything. Duh. No shit. And, the end of the episode is FP carrying an extremely wounded Jughead out. Like Superman cradling the dead Supergirl from the comic strips. And I think he got his tattoo, skinned off, and it was like, ouch. So yeah, like I said, tonight's episode was just off the fucking hook, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Hate to ramble on so long here, but that's how good of an episode it was. Like I said, they didn't. They had, it's part of the season-wide story arc, but this episode, it can stand alone on its. I mean, it can stand alone on its own. It's going to be the riot episode, and I think it'd be my favorite. Like I said, a lot of deaths. We lost Fang, Dr. Masters, Andre, and, this big, small fries, one-shot character, so who cares about that? And, you're still left with that idea of, well, who was working with Hal, or who is this, who's the green black-eyed hood? And, I'm looking forward to the next episode. Quick prediction, I see in the promos, there's, this shot of Veronica, Betty, and Archie looking down at a tombstone. They're trying to make you think it's Jughead. No, that's not the case. I think that's going to be the janitor's tombstone, because by the end of that episode, the whole Black Hood thing will be resolved. And, this is just kind of closure. It's like, oh, Mr. Severson, poor Mr. Severson, he got roped into this. He was fooled by my father, blah, 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 blah. We're just looking at his grave. So we had this shot to fool people to think that Jughead got killed. And I think there's going to be a big showdown, of course, with the Ghoulies. And in this episode, we'll see the Dark Circle team up with the Serpents to kick the Ghoulies out of town. And Hermione, or Hiram, this will be, his final episode. If the Black Hood doesn't kill him, I think he's going to get set up by his wife and his daughter because they're tired of his shit. And I think it's going to be a good episode, and I'm looking forward to it.